Let's go. Let's go. It is Saturday. It is the day of deciding who is going to take pole position for the Barcelona Grand Prix. This weekend does mark a pretty significant weekend, not really just because of the circuit itself. It's really because of everything that we have to look forward in this weekend. And even if maybe some people weren't excited about the overall Grand Prix, you have to be a little bit intrigued about what's going to be the results of this Grand Prix. Already thus far would have been the results of free practice sessions. So closing out of FP3, Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari have a situation with upshift, downshift, shifting period with the Ferrari. Ferrari looking as if they may run into some mechanical errors or issues. But we already know there were plenty of teams, including McLaren, especially McLaren, that were pretty much, what's going on Incredible Facts Quest, that were pretty much saying that the FIA new front wing rules and checks and standards would not impact them. What's up, Galactus? We got Incredible Facts Quest and the Galactus first in the live chat, and we got third, Dave's Quattro. So that is the podium for the live chat. Incredible Facts Quest, Galactus, and Dave's Quattro. Congratulations, first three in the live chat. If you're not first, you're last. So McLaren was one of those teams that said they won't be impacted, that they won't have any change. It won't affect them. Red Bull always kind of mysteriously play along with this. But we're going to look and see about the changes that some of these teams made in reference of coming into this weekend. Some of these changes might be circuit specific. Some people might claim that, but I think a lot of these changes that have been declared will be changes that are going to be here for the rest of the time while this regulation has kicked in. And although you can't take a lot from FP3, but you can take some things from FP3. I think seeing how these cars lay out in FP3 and then possibly how they start laying out in Q2 will tell us who will be impacted or who has been impacted and who was probably using flexi wings the most as far as in regard to the front wing. Now, it's not the best catalyst. It's not the best overall standard. We'll see through the course of the season. Of course, teams will develop, and I don't think, I think everybody kind of will have a general shift, but might stay kind of in line with that shift. But if we see one team, which we've seen it before, Red Bull specifically, Adrian Newey-Lees, they take a dip. The asymmetrical braking regulation kicks in, they take a dip. So we've seen teams like Red Bull be impacted, although when they say they're not doing something and these regulations come out and they take a dip, evidently you were doing something. So this is kind of going to be the same thing. If we go into this race, and Red Bull, I'm just using Red Bull as an example right now because they're one of the top performing teams. You got Red Bull, Ferrari, not really, but Ferrari, and you got McLaren. And then I'll even throw Mercedes in the mix because they've been here and there. They've been on the back foot as of late. But if we see one of these teams, especially if we see Red Bull, take a real back step, like they're in qualifying, Max Verstappen can't even lay down his hot lap, which I am very good at crediting him for, then it's going to look kind of odd. It's going to look a little suspicious that, you know what, maybe you all were exposing that front flexi wing a bit more than you were letting on. If we see McLaren, both drivers, Piastri and Lando, can't even get in the top three for qualifying, let alone don't have that same gap or that same performance that they have throughout the race, it's going to be a little suspicious in telling that you were probably exposing front flexi wing a bit more than you were letting on. So as we go in right here, we'll see that we have Ferrari. Ferrari have declared front wing changes. It says performance local load. Update is the chord-wise, span-wise loading, distribution of the wing elements together with a revised in-plate and outboard tip rolls. Okay, so they are controlling flexi wing. They are controlling flexi wing with these cords. Okay, so evidently Ferrari having a front flexi wing a bit more than the standards, current standards would have allowed. It says this is not track specific. This front wing introduction is phased with the update of Articles 3.15.4 and 3.15.5 technical regulations. So this is not track specific. This is something that Ferrari has had to do in order to be in compliance with the front wing rules. So I know at first we had a couple of you thinking that Ferrari were already here. Evidently, they're not. Evidently, Ferrari was not already here. Ferrari was also part of the group that were running front flexi wing to some degree. I don't know what degree, but to a degree that where they just couldn't leave their car unchanged and come into this race weekend unfazed. And then all of a sudden this peak performance was going to take place. Not saying it can't, but I am saying that Ferrari were not already there, because we had some people thinking that, speculating that Ferrari will kind of behind because they were already trying to run their front flexi wing elimination, and that's not the case. All right, so right here we do have rear wing, which is circuit specific, and high downforce top rear wing is what Ferrari have in that. Okay, so then we're going to go down to the next team, and then you can see the areas where Ferrari have made their changes: front, rear wing. And so let's go ahead and go to the next team. The next team up for the grabs is the Red Bull Racing team, which we were just talking about, trying to see what they declared as for their changes. Red Bull, front wing, period. All right, front wing, period. First and second elements revised primarily in section. Flap elements and tips are consequential to the first two elements. So a bit of change right there in their front wing. And then you'll see right here, in order to comply with the revision Formula One regulations applicable for the Spanish GP, the front wing geometry has been revised to gain stiffness at a minimal weight cost and then iterated to pursue the load of characteristic salt. So Red Bull, also a team that in some way are going to be impacted. Now, of course, it's oddly, but it has happened before, where teams have to adjust and then they find out that this adjustment actually works better for their car, in which they didn't think would work better because they were following the flow of everybody else, which is totally legitimate. But you find something that you didn't explore otherwise because you were forced to explore it. So there may be teams in here that show up a bit better because they didn't realize that running a front wing with less flex might actually work better with their philosophy of car. Am I saying that's going to happen? No. Am I saying it could happen? Hell yeah, it could happen. Just like we saw Charles Leclerc, what was that, in the Japanese GP? We already knew that front deck was going to be heavy, especially I think it was on the left tire. He ends up having an incident. Front wing end plate gets off, lessens the load on that tire because the downforce is lessened, and then actually helped with tire deck. So there's going to be some exploration of what happened here, how did it happen, and can we duplicate it through actual real science? Can we actually put this into testing and make a front wing that will give us this type of performance, but purposely give us this performance? So Red Bull definitely going to be impacted. That's what they changed. And then if you go into here, we will see that they also, right there is just front wing change right there, and that's all they got. So we're going to see what happens with Red Bull. The next team up for grabs, and what's going on? RacerX210 in the super chat, Mary Beanie in the super chat, Dave's Quattro in the chat, Miss Dino in the chat. We will have a Wolves Den tomorrow. Tomorrow is the birthday, but I still will have a Wolves Den tomorrow post the race. We might not go as long, or maybe we go for an hour, but that will be the case. And I am trying to see about doing something for tomorrow, but I don't know if it's going to be able, because I don't know what my time's going to look like. But let's go ahead and go into Mercedes. Okay, Mercedes sitting right here. And as we see, Mercedes has quite a bit of change. Okay, but you don't see a front wing change. Quite a bit of change here, but we don't see anything declared with the front wing specifically. Okay, so does this mean that Mercedes did nothing? Not technically. Not technically. Doesn't mean that they didn't do anything. It means that maybe they made such a minor change to it that it didn't happen to fall within the scope of them making this change to adhere to the regulations. Because sometimes teams change things, but necessarily it's not having to be declared because there are certain stipulations in there. We can look at regulations later to see why and how that happens. But we do not see a front wing change being declared by Mercedes. We got a floor edge change, which still working on the floor, which Mercedes has been working on side pods and floors since 2022, and it's been absolutely an uphill battle. But that is increased chord floor edge wing with additional vanes. And then we'll see they got the floor fencing. So reprofiled the inboard fence. So we're going to see if this is kind of interesting with Mercedes, because these change, we all know in this new era of cars, downforce is heavily weighted, and the floor is where you're getting a lot of that from. Okay, the ground effects era has been crazy and floor changes. So it could be possible that Mercedes come in here and perform quite a bit better than they have in the last few or couple of races because they found something in their floor development. And then in here at this GP, we will see if that takes case. But we don't see any front wing. We do see rear wing. Rear wing is going to be reprofiled, main plane, and flap element, circuit specific for the rear track. Mary Beanie in the super chat says, I'm taking Lewis for the win. Happy birthday, Aham. Hey, big shout out to you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mary Beanie. I appreciate that. Appreciate you very much. Thank you for those birthday wishes. Thank you. You're very gracious. You know that, Mary Beanie? Appreciate you. So we'll go ahead and go in and you'll see the areas of Mercedes changes. And of course, we got the rear wing, we got the floor and the fencing. So we're going to see how this is going to impact Mercedes. Is Mercedes going to come into this weekend performing a bit better via George Russell, via Antonelli? Antonelli having a pretty decent and solid rookie year. We will, at the end of the season, who has the best rookie year. Remember that we're going to go ahead and give our Roddy our rookie of the year, and you all will be able to vote on that in the chat live, and then we'll discuss why and who we think is the best rookie of this season. So let's go ahead and go into the next team. The next team is going to be Aston Martin, and I do put an emphasis on ass, as Lance Stroll is ass and has not been doing good. And we think by Maria Duncan, he is campaigning to be out of Formula One, but his daddy won't let him. So right here, front wing change, definitely Aston Martin having to adhere to that. Adrian Newey being involved a little bit more now, coming in as we get closer and closer to 26. Big shout out to Racer X210 with the birthday cake sticker. Thank you very much, Racer X210. My fam, my brother right there. Big shout out to Galactus. So as it gets right here, we do have front wing. It says revised tip detail between the front wing elements and the end plate. Main wing section also revised for compliance with TD018 Hotel. So Tango Delta Hotel right there. The revised tip detail improves the flow field around the outboard edge of the wing, increasing the load generated in the area. Changes in the section are for structural reasons. So, you know, some of these explanations might come into a bit of. Paul in the super chat says, what's good, fam? Happy Saturday and quality day. Happy birthday. Love you, bro. Hope everyone had a blessed weekend. Smash the like button. Thank you very much. And it is tomorrow. I appreciate you much. Thank you, brother. So some of these explanations are might be kind of funny or kind of verbally arranged, grammatically arranged to not say that we had a front flexi wing. These changes aren't necessarily for us to adhere to this. I'm really looking to see who's going to do that. But as it sits right there, they are adhering to a technical directive right there. So Aston Martin is one of those teams that have had to make those changes. Mercedes so far, not one of those teams. And as you see right here, Aston Martin will be visually showing you where those changes have taken place. All right. So then we'll go down to the next team declared, and that is Alpine. Alpine, yes, also one of the teams that have not, or at least here, had to declare some change to their front wing to adhere to the standards or the technical directive. So we have Merck, and so far we have Alpine. All right. Alpine says the floor fencing and floor body. So another team that has focused more on the floor performance. It says reprofiled the floor fence, local changes to the shape of the floor. Floor fence had been optimized locally to improve the quality of underfloor structures. So we're also going to see what's up with Alpine, led by Gasly, and right now Colapinto, which got 13th in a race last week in Monaco. We're going to see what happens here at the end of this triple header. Mary Beanie says, happy birthday, Alpha Wolf. You shared with the Lewis dads. Hey, yo, that is true, huh, Mary Beanie? Damn, that is true. I didn't even think about that. Big shout out. Quali happening soon. Any predictions for the top three, and who do you have for the win? Yo, it is a little too early for me, but I tell you what, I'll go out on the limb, Racer X210. I will go out on the limb and say I am going to go. I tell you what, let me see this. Oh, Anthony Carrier in the super chat. Big shout out. My birthday was yo, bro. We Geminis together. Anthony Carrier, happy birthday to you, brother. Happy belated birthday to you. It's crazy. My wife's birthday is within the same days. Like, we're all within the same 3 or 4 days. That is wild, crazy, man. Your son's birthday is today. Yo, we are like Geminis together, bro. Son's birthday is today, and yours is coming up. Happy birthday, bro. Old school Gemini stand. Hey, old school Geminis are the best, bro. Old school Geminis are the best. are the best. Facts, man. I know people say we crazy, but we really not crazy. It's just that we don't take a lot of BS, and we love hard. That's a fact. We love hard, man. So it is an awesome day. We got a lot of awesome people with birthdays in this cluster day, man. So big shout out to Anthony Carrier. Happy birthday to you, my brother. Matter of fact, Anthony Carrier, your birthday was yesterday and your son's is today. Do me a favor, bro. Reach out to me on social media and get me your address. I'm going to send you and your son a Wolfpack care package for your birthdays being around the same time as me and the wife's birthdays. Make sure you reach out to me, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Twitter. Reach out to me. Give me your address. I'm going to send you and your son some Wolfpack merch for the celebration of Jim and our birthdays, brother. All right, go ahead and make sure you hit me up with that, man. Take care of the fam. Big shout out to everybody. So like I said, hey, BWT Alpine, we'll see what happens with them. Local changes on the floor. Floor is very important, so let's see what happens there. I'm looking to hopefully see if Colapinto can even edge out more on this bet as me and Mechanic Mercedes have. He got 13th last week. Going to see if he can get higher than 13th. That's just going to be a little bit more egg on the face at this barbecue party for the fam. So, yes, BWT Alpine, let's see what happens there. And also Colapinto getting his more opportunity in an upgraded car or updated car. It's not an upgrade until it proves to be an upgrade. Next, we got Haas, and I do focus on Haas because Haas is us, but Haas is not really, Haas is us still. Yes, but it's been better. It's been more improved as. So they got front wing changes because, yes, they have to adhere to that. It says updated front wing construction. The 2025 technical regulations were updated April 7th to include more stringent front wing flap deflection requirements effective from May 28th. Consequently, a new front wing construction was necessary to comply with these new requisites. I like that. That is upfront honesty. That is upfront transparency that, yes, we had a front wing that will not adhere to these regulations, and we had to change it because at this date and this time it needed to be done, and we had it done. That is the most transparency that I think right now we will see from any team. They legitimately just owned it. Haas just owned it. So as of today, and today only, probably for the birthday weekend, they will not be us. They will just be Haas, okay? And I admire that. Just tell it like it is. Yeah, we weren't going to be in specs. Our front wing was not going to pass these tests, and we had to change it because all of this required us to change it. Most transparency right now that we've seen from any team, and I do like that. It's pretty blunt, straightforward. This is what the deal is. Haas is not us today. So again, Haas showing their area whereabouts where they had to make these changes. And yeah, so big shout out to Haas for all of that honesty. Gene Haas, big shout out to you, man. So the next team we're going to go into is Visa Cash App, the Racing Bulls. You know, the second team, 4 drivers, 2 teams on the grid, which is unfair. Buck Dollars, Puro, happy birthday. Thank you, my brother. Thank you, Buck Dollars. Appreciate you very much. And let's look into this one. And what we'll see right here is front wing end plate, and the nose. That's a lot. That's a lot of frontness. That's a lot of fronting right there. Big shout out to RacerX210. Says that Spain will be a mixed pot and the heat for the race day is going to be scorched. So some teams may differ. And matter of fact, let me answer your question, brother, because Anthony Carrier got me carried away with the birthday cluster and Mary Beanie with birthday cluster of greatness. Okay, so let me answer this for a prediction real quick. So on a prediction, if I go in and I look right here, I'm going to say that I am going to take Oscar and Lando for at least, I'm going to take McLaren for 2 cars. Maybe not, I'm not going to say a front row lockout, but I'm going to take them in 2 in the top 3. And then I might actually see if George Russell is going to be able to edge out Max Verstappen to get in that top 3. So I'm looking at a Mercedes power unit all top 3 and possibly a McLaren front row lockout, including George Russell to take that 3rd spot. Charles Leclerc is there, but I got to see if he's going to be able to keep it there. And that's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking McLaren and all Mercedes power unit in the top 3 for qualifying. As far as the race, I'm going to go ahead and go with Oscar Piastri. I don't think this is a circuit where Lando's overwhelming experience is going to lend. I think Oscar Piastri will probably go ahead and edge him out in quali, and then I think he'll probably edge him out in the race unless something strategically happens with the pit stop, and then Oscar Piastri is dampened from there. So that's what I'm going to go with on that. That's where I'll go. And big shout out to Incredible Facts. Quest says, happy birthday, Jay, but Scorpios are the best. Oh, I can't be mad that you're going to represent your zodiac sign, man. I can't be mad at that. You supposed to think you the best. If you don't think you the best, who else will? So I'm not going to even debate that, brother. But I'm just going to say, sometimes when you got two sides, you could be a little bit more dynamic. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say. So as it says right here, we got front wing for flow conditioning. The element of the main plates are new, featuring lower central sections. The sections of the wing load further relative to the outboard, modifying the downstream flow condition. The update also addresses the increased front wing stiffness. So, they try to nestle it in there. Okay, so from race 9 onward, this is a change. Then we got the front wing end plate. Connections between the tips, the front wing end plate has been updated. Flow around the front wing tips has highly three-dimensional. Now, I will say this. Their front wing adaptation looked very similar to Mercedes' front wing change. I think it might have been 2023. They had a very interesting front. I think they almost called it shark gills, but it was very interesting what they had there. So it looked very similar. Looked like a little bit of some, inspiration may have been taken from there. Very controversial at that time when Mercedes was doing that. And so also going into their nose, the lower surface of the nose has been raised, while the tip has been lowered. So yes, a lot of fronting right there for the Racing Bulls. And we have almost 45 minutes before we get into qualifying, which is already up. That live is there. Go ahead and be in there when we get ready to go and see who's going to qualify for that front row lockout. So yeah, also going into that, they do pretty much a good job overall of just saying, hey, all of this shit had to be changed. Just everything right here had to be changed. So big shout out to the Racing Bulls with Hadjar. I'm hoping that Hadjar has another good weekend. I would like to see Hadjar have another good weekend. I think Hadjar is performing well for his rookie season. I know a lot of people gave him a lot of crap for that first, it was extreme conditions. Hadjar had a blooper. It happened. It's not the best day of his life, and definitely was the best day of some other people's to criticize him and say that he probably wouldn't be good. But since then, he's been absolutely nice. I'm not going to say great. I gets on my nerves when people say great. I think it was Jolyon Palmer saying Hulkenberg's had a great career. He has not had a great career. He's had a journeyman career. This word greatness gets thrown out so much to a fault. It's not great. Hulkenberg hasn't had a great career. That's not great. If he's had a great career, then what the hell has been the career of Lewis Hamilton? What's been the career of Max Verstappen? What's been the career of Valtteri Bottas? If Hulkenberg's career has been great. Come on, man. We gotta really put this in context and stop trying to use this to damn soft shoeing around here. I'm just gonna call it like it is. All right. So as we come into, we are looking at ASEAN. We are looking at Williams Racing, which I know I am very pleased and hoping that they continue to improve, because to me, this team is a success story to me, waiting to happen. And I am very excited about what Williams has been able to obtain, what they've been able to do, what they've been able to make happen this season with their car and with their development and with their drivers. I think it's absolutely awesome. And I'm just looking for them to continue to grow and for more performance to continue to come from this team. So I'm excited about Williams. I'm looking to see them get two cars in the points again this weekend, which I said at the beginning of the season, at the end of last season, if they could do that, that would be a huge success going forward for Williams. And I think that would be great for them to build off of. They have 3 changes. Front wing, yes. And as you see right here, rearward flap and front wing outboard section, rearward profile, vertical section of end plate has been revised. The combined geometric and construction changes reduce the deflection. And it doesn't really say anything. It does say right here, furniture and forward floor, but I don't see anything right here that says that they had to do this in regards to the regulation there. So that wasn't put there by Williams. So, okay, I guess that is, the case, whatever it is, but I don't see anything there. If you see it, just point it out, but I don't see it. It says, there it is, adhere to the latest regulation. So this is what I mean by nestling in. This is what I mean by kind of nestling your description in, where you kind of nestle it in, not hide it, not lie about it, but it's not as forthcoming as Haas was. It's kind of like, let's put this like kind of at the top, but kind of bury it in. Yeah, I mean, but just say it like it is, like Haas said it. We had to do this because of these regulations, but it's not that they have to. I'm just saying it's just funny to see how teams are going to verbally, are grammatically word their things out to kind of see what they say and do. Is you can kind of you can tell somebody's really trying to hide this shit. Like this is not us. We didn't do it because we had to do the regulations. We did it because it's just a performance change. But Williams kind of right there, kind of burying the needle a little bit, in my opinion. Rear corner right here is circuit specific, is revised exit geometry for the rear brake ducts. Revised exit geometry to change the flow right through the brake duct, actually trying to get some good brake cooling louvers right there for a heating package. It says new optional cooling louvers panels available for this event. Not to say that they have to use it, but they may use it. It increases the number of large louvers to actually get that cooling package into the engine so they can keep that engine cool, keep it from overheating. We don't want to see any engine fires. There you see highlighting several areas where they are making these updates, these changes. The next team up we'll see is Kick Sauber, the green car on the grid. 3 changes right here declared: floor body, Coke engine cover, and front wing. And they are local front wing end plate development to improve outboard front wing performance and efficiency, and also encourage better downstream flow quality. Small changes to the transition between the main plane and the front wing end plate. So are we to take from this that Kick Sauber did not have any amount of front flexi wing to the point where these changes were to adhere to the new technical directive? Is that what we are to believe? I guess so. This is one of the examples I was saying, some of these teams burying, some of these teams just not outright saying why they changed it. Nothing in there says we changed this to adhere to the new reg. It just says that we changed it. Okay, Kick Sauber, do we really care? Not really, because Kick Sauber hasn't been really doing much of any damn thing this season, and they didn't do much of anything last season. And Kick Sauber is our last car for any type of change right here that you'll see. And yeah, quite a bit going on right there. Not like we really need to go into the rest of it, but hey, it is what it is. Kick Sauber waiting for Audi to come in, and we're all kind of waiting for Audi to come in and see what they're going to do, because it hasn't been great for them. Hasn't been great for them at all. And I'm wondering if Audi's really going to be able to change any of this shit that's about to take place next season. Because 2026, we got a lot of things happening. We got a large amount of things happening in 2026. Where 2026 is going to be a very interesting season. I don't know if it's going to be good. I don't know if it's going to be exciting. I don't know if it's going to be just all outright just like, whoa, but I do know it's going to be different. I do know it's going to be interesting. I do know it's going to be challenging. And so with challenges can come a lot of things in the package. So we'll just see how that goes and what happens there. But this front wing has impacted several teams. And going into that, we got Kick Sauber. We had Williams. We had the Visa Cash App with the Racing Bulls. We had MoneyGram, Haas. I'm not calling them Haas today. We had Alpine. We also had Aston Martin, and we had Mercedes. We also had Red Bull in there, and we had Ferrari in there. So we had 9 teams total that had declared there. And so 9 teams total, there it is. Those 9 teams are saying that is it. Who did you not see? What team did you not see? You know what team you didn't see any changes for? This team, McLaren. No updates submitted for this event. And I held this for last for a reason. This team is saying that what they've been saying. McLaren said that the front wing regulations or technical directive would not impact us. And I led opening up this live saying that they claimed this. McLaren has claimed no updates submitted for this event. If this is really legitimately 100% true to the finest point, some teams may be in trouble. Red Bull might be in trouble. Ferrari might be in more trouble. Mercedes might be even more trouble. Because if this is true, McLaren Mercedes has indeed told us flat out that when the technical directive comes in, no matter what Christian Horner says about us running water in the tires, which was totally false and was totally bullshit, I'm just going to call it like it is. No matter what they say about them not having to make a change to their front wing and we're going to have to make changes and it's going to impact us. No matter about all the paperwork Christian Horner went and tried to file to try to keep us down, Red Bull had to make a front wing change in order to adhere to these regulations. McLaren did not. So yeah, when I say I'm going to be looking at this race to see what happens. Now, also, I'm also telling you that just because McLaren didn't have to make a change and Red Bull did, doesn't mean that Red Bull won't have some sort of performance out of the change that they had to adhere to. But I am saying that McLaren said that this wasn't going to impact them, and it might be very well true. I mean, they don't have any changes submitted. So we're about to see in about, we don't have long. We got 27 minutes before we see what's going to happen in qualifying. And like I said, I'm looking for a few things. If Max Verstappen cannot run his hot laps like he typically does to get top of the charts or within the top 3 on a regular basis, that's going to be telling. If McLaren get a front row lockout and then go into this race putting a gap, and I do mean a gapping between them and their competitors, well, that's going to be telling. If Mercedes are on podium after making the changes to the floor, well, we might have an interesting season coming still in the making. And it's been interesting thus far. So we will see. Be here live for quali. I will be here live for quali because if I'm not, then I guess we won't be live. Big shout out to everybody that has a birthday from May to June. Big shout out to Anthony Carrier, my Gemini brother in here. Big shout out to Anthony Hamilton, Lewis Hamilton's dad, who has a birthday. And actually, what actual day is Lewis Hamilton's dad's birthday on? What actual day is it on? That's what I would like to know. Does anybody know what actual day? I guess I could look it up. What actual day is it on? That's what I would like to know. Not the singer, but the actual. So what day? Somebody look it up. Somebody find it. But where is it? I know Mary Beanie should know. Mary Beanie should know. But anyway, we'll go ahead and close this out. You all can let me know later on what actual day in there. I think it is. Oh, it's actually in a few more days, actually. His is on the 6th. So his is next Tuesday. His birthday is coming up next Friday. His birthday's next Friday. So yeah. Lewis Hamilton's dad, Anthony Hamilton's dad, is on the 6th. And this weekend, it is celebrating all of us here. So big shout out. Happy birthday to Anthony Carrier and his son. Happy birthday to anybody else that has a birthday May and June. I will see you all soon for the live for quali, because that is where the chips get pushed to the center of the table, and we are about to be out of here. Peace.